I just kind of want to jump into it, dude. Number 11. Honestly, I think he deserves to be higher, but at this point, we're all just so tired of talking about Oliver, I just wanted to get it out of the way. Oliver is one of the most played units in RTA this season, and if you're picking him, it's probably largely got something to do with his speed lead, and also his incredibly oppressive kit that's kept him relevant for years now. Oliver is all about increasing the enemy's cooldown times while actually reducing his own, and he has built-in turn cycling that just keeps him taking turn after turn after turn. Seriously, I don't think he deserves to be number 11. Seriously, I feel like he even has validity at maybe like number 1. No, that's a little extreme, actually. I think the number 1's actually pretty good. Maybe number 2. I could see him being number 2, but I don't want to talk about him that late in the video. I just want to get out of the way. So is this list scuffed from the start? I don't know. I think it's a pretty good list if I'm being totally honest, but hey, you know what? To each their own. Number 10 and number 9 we're going to talk about together because they are more often than not seen together. It's Miles and Raccoony, who have appeared on the channel before in the coolest combos of a year in the past. I forget which one though. Where are we? When are we? 2023? They're back and just as good as ever. According to recent stats though, Miles has not actually broken the top 10 most picked monsters in RTA this season, which is surprising to me, but at the same time, I've been seeing him a lot in 2 vs 2 RTA as part of the Guardians Club tournament that's happening right now. It's the first time we've ever had 2 vs 2 in a competitive setting, and it's very fun to watch. Though, admittedly, part of the reason why we're seeing so much Miles is because Leo is outlawed in 2 vs 2. And Leo is Miles's natural predator out in the wild. So I suppose if you didn't want Miles and Raccoony to be at number 10 and number 9, we could instead say it's Hagang and Irene. Hagang is boring, but Irene is really cool. Irene has shot up in popularity recently for a number of reasons. One, she can exile someone and say you're not in the game anymore. It's basically the same thing that Jogun did, but people like it better because it's not on Jogun. I'm just kidding. They like it because it also strips buffs off of them, so you can do it through immunity. She also has a super interesting skill too, with a buff that only appears on 2 monsters in the game, and they're both within the same family. The Water and Dark Devil Maidens apply a unique buff that reflects harmful effects. Now you pair that with a threat state, and it's just magic. Number 8, Teshar, the Wind Phoenix. Even though she doesn't see play in RTA, Teshar has earned a spot on the list for what she's done in PvE settings. More specifically, she was number 1 in the most picked out of the top 10 units in the Choose an App 5 event. And I feel like that should count for something. We should have a little bit of PvE representation on this list, right? We all know what Teshar does. If you find yourself in a position where you don't know what Teshar does, you should check out the Speed Team Guide to Giants that we posted on the channel. Number 7 and number 6, Velasca and Velasca Blue Edition. Lamila? Llama? Lamami? I feel like her name is Lamila. These were a couple incredible new cleave options that emerged at the end of 2024. But when I say the end, I mean it. It was like right on the cusp of 2024 to 2025, so people didn't really get a chance to experiment with them until early on in 2025. They both use an extremely interesting mechanic. Every time a monster takes damage, sacrifice stacks are added in the background. And if a monster dies, the sacrifice pool is boosted all the way up to the top, which means they're going to do maximum damage on their turn. But what's great about them is they also only really want HP. All their damage is based on max HP and how much sacrifice is in the pool. So they're kind of like Miles. That's a bit of a stretch, but in the sense that you build them tanky and then you just get damage as a byproduct. It's like, cool, thanks. Number 5, it's the Fire Mega... It's Tetsuo. Oh, that's not right either anymore. That's the Fire Exorcist Association Conjurer, baby. I rant positively about this monster all the time. Is there a word for that? Ramble, I suppose? Ramble, right? What's cool about the Fire Exorcist Association Conjurer is that he has a passive that we've seen in other places before, namely Diana the Wind Unicorn. The only thing is that Diana carries high threat because she's a damage dealer / bruiser. The Fire Exorcist Association Conjurer is a support unit, so you don't really want to hit him, whereas you want to take out Diana as fast as humanly possible. So I feel like a passive that gets you attack bar when you're not attacked is more useful on a unit like him, because now your opponent is having to make the active choice to drift away from the active threat and target your support unit early. Cool passive, cool kit that also steals buffs. He can stun, he can apply defense break and attack break on skill 1, and he has a 28% arena speed lead. The dude's killing it. He has everything. Now imagine my surprise when I see that he's in the top 10 of recently picked monsters. However, his win rate was actually sub 50%. Not that sub, but still sub. Number 4, Shiho, the Water Monkey King. He gets higher on the list because of the memes that came out of the buff he got. He caused a lot of conversation, especially on the subreddit, and he had quite the showing at week 4 of the Guardians Club tournament. Someone up there is trying to make Shiho the best monster in the game, and it's only going to take a couple more buffs to get there, I think. Number 3, Lydia. Just kidding. Well, actually, am I kidding? Bro, this is for me. I'm so hyped she even got a little buff after all this time. Like 10% more reflected damage didn't seem like that much. You actually really feel it because reflected damage is not taken damage. So, you know, I'm just playing. She's my number 3, but the number 3 for the video is actually the Water Exorcist Association Resolver, or as people have taken calling him the Water Ear Exorcist Association Resolver, EAR. Or they could also call him Were, WEAR. Like a werewolf. He has been seeing so much play. There was only one set in the Americas Summit this year where he wasn't picked. He was at least picked or appeared in the pre-bans in the Americas Summit the whole way through. And that's impressive enough to get you on the list. But his kit is even more so. His skill 2 scales on defense, which is great because he buffs his own defense. That's also a stat that doesn't change. It ages well over the course of an RTA match. You know, attack goes up and HP goes down, but defense stays the same. So he hits pretty hard over the course of the game. Plus, he's immune to attack bar reduction. So he's a great choice into Oliver. He can still get reset though. He can still get reset, but he's gonna get that turn. Number 2 is Aya. Her name's not Aya anymore. I don't know her current name. Here's her current name. Wow, look at that. It's probably long. Aya's buff caused such a stir in the community. That is why she's at number 2, because this is not a list of like the best in order. Well, it kind of is the best actually. In a weird way, it is kind of about the best, but it's mostly about the impact that they've had. Hence, Teshar and Lydia. The memes that came out of Aya's buff were frankly hilarious, and now she's suddenly up there with some of the best counters to debuff comps in Summoner's War. In the beginning, we were kind of throwing around willy-nilly, like if there were any debuffs in play, not even AoE, you just put her on your team and hope she procs. But I think we've all kind of collectively grown out of that phase, and now we're bringing her in more appropriate situations. The change in question is that she now decreases all enemies' HP by 25% if she starts her turn with a debuff on. That's the only condition, and it's just as good as it sounds. Is applied with debuffs, though, she gets... Oh my god, I procced. Dude, it looks like Molong went through here. Look at this. That's crazy. I'm literally going to talk about this in a video. Michael, if you're watching this in the future, let's use this game for the video. But I have a tendency to love monsters that just sit there and accrue value. So she's very me-coded. Honorable mentions, we'll keep this real quick. First of all, it's Mi Ying, the Dark Panda Warrior. Mi Ying is here because I feel like he finally found an identity for himself, you know? Now he's not just the attack version of Feng Yan, he's also anti-crowd control, and I couldn't be happier for him. Well, maybe I could be a little bit happier if I had one, but you know what? We'll leave it at that. The other honorable mention is Gianna, the Dark Oracle. I think Gianna actually has the highest win rate of any monster that I've talked about today, and I think that's enough to justify her inclusion on this list. We all love to hate Gianna, especially when she's paired with her sister Ciara, so good for her. She had a buff and a little nerf, and now she's still great. Number 1, the twins. No, wait, not those twins. These twins. These guys have been tearing it up in RTA recently. Like, I don't even know what to say. Earlier this year, when we had the Content Creator Invitational on the channel, Chewy's brought a team that was entirely composed of like Twin Angels plus Frigate. And it really made an impact on me. And now all of the Twin Angels, except for the Dark One. The Dark Ones aren't really seeing play, but the rest of them are seeing so much play. They actually have the highest play rate of any monster right now at the time of recording. And that's pretty incredible. Though when I say that stat, I'm mostly talking about the Water ones. And I think they'll probably be like the poster child for the number 1 slot. The Water Twin Angels offer so much utility across 6 skills. They've got single target strip and defense break. They can AoE stun. They can reduce someone's cooldown time. Like, can you believe that's all on one unit? That is a utility belt monster. And those are the type of monsters that dominate in RTA. They also do great with additional damage sources. That's especially true for the Fire one. I'm not going to talk about the Fire and Wind ones here, but I highly suggest you at least go read through their kits in the game, because it's a lot. We don't have that kind of time. That is the list of the top 11 most impactful monsters of 2025 so far. But if your list looks different than mine, let me know in a comment down below. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.